What's going on, guys? Welcome to Forge Sports Media. This is our 17th episode of our disc golf podcast.
We have just passed through our first major of the year.
Thomas was there for the final round. It was exciting. We're going to talk about some storylines from both the FPO and the MPO side.
Yep.
We'll preview a little Jonesboro. We've got some new discs. Got some really interesting ones this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go to the classics, Foshi's Fun and Games, and what you're calling the best top 5 that you've ever come up with.
Literally not once have I had a better, more thought-provoking top 5.
Wonderful. Let's get right into it. Champions Cup, the first major of the year.
Appling, Georgia. Right outside of Augusta. If you're not already aware, the PGA Tour makes their way down to Augusta, Georgia, which is just outside of Appling, because Appling is the more well-known city.
Sports town.
So lots going on out there. It's about 2 hours west or 2 hours east of Atlanta. Really fun property in a state park right there, like on the lake. There are spots where you don't see the lake as much from W.R. Jackson. You can while playing Ed Hedrick. Good old Steady Ed, which was where the MPO and FPO players were warming up. That was kind of set off for them the first few holes of it for them to warm up alongside. Just the practice area there is amazing. Like, there's just tons of baskets and it's a lot of elevation change because you just get that on the course. So that'd be great to say. Appling, Georgia is right outside of some just wonderful golf history. And so it's creating a name for itself right there and just what feels like the golf capital of the U.S.
Yeah, including disc golf at this point.
Yep.
So that's exciting. We're going to just go ahead and jump right into it with FPO. Kristen Tatar.
Unbelievable. We'll talk about our picks a little bit later. Understandably, we all picked. But we decided to see who would pick exactly how many strokes she won by. And none of us picked the lead she ended up winning by.
14.
I picked the widest margin of victory at 9.
I was wrong. You're up by 5 strokes, it was just an unreal tournament. I know we've talked a lot about ratings and how we're not the biggest fan of ratings, but I think it just speaks to Kristen's play here, so I'm going to just bring it up. She averaged a 10-10 rated round.
Yep.
That would win, pretty much every local MPO tournament, like C tiers and B tiers, and it would keep her competitive in a lot of Pro Tour tournaments on the MPO side.
Yeah.
It was incredibly impressive. She shoots the hot round each round, beats Owen Scoggins by 14 strokes, and then in a tie for third was Kat Mersch, Katrina Allen, and Haley King, who were 2 strokes off of Owen, so they got beat by 16 strokes.
It was not even close.
No, an absolutely dominant performance. After what happened last year at Champions Cup with her daughter being taken off the bat,
it was just ridiculous. It almost even happened to begin with.
It was, but it almost felt like, Kristen's kind of like, she's played well. She played awesome at Blue Ridge, but she's had a couple of off tournaments to start out the season. It almost felt like she was saving some. I know she wasn't actually doing this, but that's what it felt like. It felt like this was one that she was like, I've got to get this one. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure I get it done.
Right.
And she did. And there's not much more to say. Kristen is the most dominant disc golfer, period.
Yeah. When you talk about dominating compared to your field, it just no comparison anywhere around.
It would have been a super competitive tournament if it wasn't for Kristen Tatar.
Yeah.
You've got to go down the leaderboard.
Yeah, the score came down, and it was like there were 4 people within 2 strokes.
And then Holland Handley was only 3 off of the rest of the podium.
The differential between Kristen and Owen Scoggins at number 2 was the entire difference that Owen was under par. It was more than Owen was under par.
Yeah, so how far would you have to go down? So you need to go to +1.
Yeah.
That's 13th. And tied for 13th.
14, 15, 16 players, basically.
to get to
the final person who's outside of that differential with Missy Gannon at +4. It's ridiculous. That just unbelievable. Again, we talk about 10-10 rated golf. Do we believe Kristen will be the first FPO player to exceed that 1,000 rated mark?
Absolutely.
No doubt.
She's going to do it. Like, there is no doubt in my mind. She's already at 987, and she's just been trending up. It's only a matter of time. It might happen by the end of the season.
Very well could. I was curious. I might not be able to get it right now, but there's an extension I've got on Chrome for like putting in ratings and seeing how far it will pull your rating up by on the next. I guess rating
update.
Yeah, but I don't believe I've got it on this computer. So
well,
it's I used that for a while when I was worried about my rating. Now I realize that ratings are kind of dumb.
If I need succumb to the reality that ratings really don't matter.
But needless to say, it's just not even close. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to believe that anybody else is going to win a major this year if Kristen plays the way that she played. I mean, in majors matter the most. That's when you're going to give your absolute best effort.
Absolutely. And my way too early prediction, looking real good on that one.
Yep.
I picked her to win all 4.
Did we all pick her to win all 4?
No, you picked Evelina, I think, to win this tournament.
That is to win this one. What my way too early's were. I think I picked Casey White to win.
We'll get back to that. That's I got some biggest disappointments from the MPO side, but the only other storyline, I mean, like I said, shout out to those on the podium, Katrina Allen, Kat Bursch, Owen Scoggins, and Haley King. They played good disc golf. Someone who did not play disc golf, good disc golf, I guess she did technically play disc golf, but she did not play well, was Paige Pierce, who won the tournament last year. Did not make cash.
You just haven't been playing great disc golf this year in general. And she watched her at the Music City Open, it was like she didn't play.
Yeah.
It felt like.
That's what it felt like. She did win, was it the Open at Austin? Is that the one that she won?
I could check.
I'm pretty sure that's the one that she took down. But it's just, it is the one that she took
for
down.
Paige Pierce to be taking 29th at a tournament, playing 937 golf. It's just obviously on a different wavelength than she was 12 months ago.
Or even, I mean, I would say even more
than the Open at Austin.
Which could win, but she did not even cash the last 2 events she played.
Yeah.
So there's something, I think she is kind of, to some extent, maybe checked out. And
competition is finally tough. I mean, I don't like to take it out of anybody for being such a good player during very pivotal years in growing the sport.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely love what Paige Pierce has done for the sport and really pushed people to start playing. There's absolutely nothing against Paige Pierce. It's all about current performance.
And Krista DeParge's
was not even close.
Not close at all.
So absolutely unreal. It was fun. Just we were watching people tee off on hole 3 on Sunday, and you could hear. Or no, there's the segment between hole 8's basket and hole 9's tee, and you could hear the crowd just roar when they finally finished. And she tapped out on 18. It was just fun seeing like people get so excited. And like, I feel like FPO golf has come a very long way in the last few years.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think Kristen won like $8,500, I believe it was, for this event. Yeah.
Super solid.
Very good money. So
that's exciting.
Chugging away, potentially, if she keeps playing very well, could supersede her winnings of just over $100,000 in events alone.
From last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I expect it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much the biggest thing on everybody's mind is like, obviously Kristen's going to win, but like, is she going to win more money? Is she going to continue to push the boundaries of like what you can do in FPO golf? I mean, heck, she's only barely below what Ricky's record was that was made like hours after her when they both won like 40 grand, I think it was, in the Pro Tour Championship.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be exciting to see how much money she wins. It's going to be a lot. So
on the MPO side, it from the beginning, really once round 2 happened, I think everybody was like, holy moly, Isaac Robinson is playing out of his freaking mind.
So, yeah, Isaac Robinson taking it down, wins by 5 over. It's kind of surprising when after 2 rounds, because it looked like it was going to be a 2-person race after the second round. But he takes it down over Niklas Antila and Eagle McMahon.
Yeah.
The biggest surprise for me was Silas Schultz.
But after round 2, he was only a stroke behind Isaac.
Right. And
went a much worse round 3 in comparison. Isaac went 12 under. Silas went 3 under. And then as the round progressed in round 4, Silas started pushing forward. He was having that super red. I'm going to say he was 11 under through 13 holes is where he was at.
He was, and he almost had an ace on, now if I can remember the hole correctly, he almost took the ace on the part on 11. Okay. He hit chains on hole 11.
So, needless to say, he was absolutely crushing it. Yeah, he was 11 under through 12 holes, and then proceeded to take a couple bogeys, 1 on 14, 1 on 15. And that's around the time Isaac started heating up on the lead card, since he had started out slow. I mean, there was a 3-stroke differential at one point when I believe Silas had finished 13 and Isaac had finished, I believe, in the moment 11, because of the differential.
Right, because this one was on lead, one was on chase.
And lead just takes much longer to finish holes.
Yeah.
So it was looking crazy up until that moment Silas finally took a bogey. So
yeah, that's what Matt and I watched the final round at my place, and that was what we talked about. Was in order for Isaac to be beat, he was up 7 going into the final round. Someone had to do something insane, and Isaac had to play his worst round.
Yeah,
he did play his worst round
by 5 strokes.
By 5 strokes. Still an incredible golf.
Very
no slouch shooting 6 down.
It's funny because Silas was 10 behind him. That just blows my mind. But it came that close at one point. And it was impressive how Silas started, and we were like, Matt and I were kind of like, is he gonna do it? And then he went bogey, and I think there was a 3-stroke swing on those 2 holes because Isaac went birdie par birdie, something along those lines. Yeah.
And just an incredible performance. He went wire to wire as well.
Mm-hmm.
He had the lead the entire time. It was
unbelievable.
He was on another level this past weekend. He absolutely shredded. Did not bogey until the final hole when he very easily could have made the par putt, but laid up to ensure nothing crazy happened. Totally understood it. Just an incredible tournament. Shout out to Isaac Robinson. I picked him to win Worlds, so now he's going to win 2 majors.
Dude, that would be wild if he went and won Worlds after winning this. But he's got everything in him to do it. Woods golf is definitely where he shows off for sure because he's just got ridiculous accuracy. So,
but it's distance and accuracy and being able to throw through lines. That's the phrase that you've heard a lot on coverage. It's just his ability to see a gap, hit a gap, and hit it with power. Where a lot of guys are powering down or going to mids or doing different things. He's taking, I think he threw a FX4 all over that course, and he just felt comfortable throwing full speed.
For you all listening, again, I think I love the fact that I've gotten to play this course because it just gives a level of context to the difficulty of W.R. Jackson. I think it can be very easy to look at the scores that Isaac and plenty of other competitors were shooting at this course and say, man, why is this course so easy? Why am I seeing these 11 under, 12 under scores? And
I could definitely go out there and shoot even.
Dude, I shot on an technically easier because there were a few changes in pars and not playing any OB. I'm sure I was OB at one point or another. Shot 22 over par, and that was on par with my 850 rating at the time. It was there had been a tournament there just a few weeks prior, and so I compared scores.
There you go.
And I was as good as my score would have been without taking any OB that I didn't know because there weren't lines out there. That course is hard. and hitting those kind of lines. I mean, playing Tommy Shumpert here in town, like, obviously that's not hard. This is no comparison of the two courses, but like going into hole 3 where you're having to like hit this like left-hand gap on a flex shot to get down at that main line, I'm like, I find that's kind of hard. Playing this course is an absolute animal. So to see Isaac go out there and shoot multiple 12 under, or was it double and then 112? Just ridiculous. It was Silas that, did he shoot 2 12 under rounds?
So he had 12 out of 10.
That's right.
There were a handful of guys that shot the 12 down. Round 2, it was Silas. Round 3, it was Gannon and Isaac.
Which it blows my mind that in round 3, Gannon shoots tied for the hot round and gains 0 strokes on the leader. How do you think that has to make you feel? Like, obviously you're going up the leaderboard, you're excited for the round, but like somebody like Gannon, his goal is to win.
Right. And you see your buddy Isaac up there just shredding with you. There's almost this bittersweet feeling of like, oh, I'm so happy that my friend is playing well, but he's taking it away from me.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But Una Heinen, shout out to him. He actually had a really great tournament. He had a tough round 3 that kind of set him off the pace, but generally speaking, played very well.
So, some notes you've got on here, which I agree with. Matty O, back on track, top 5.
Matty O did that.
Historically speaking, I mean, he's been in the UDIS top 10 for a while. I don't believe he currently is.
I don't think so.
I think he dropped out of it, but like this is showing why Matty O would have been in the UDIS top 10. Now you've got Mason Ford on here.
Yeah, so Mason Ford quietly having, I think he had a little bit of a rough start to the year. We'll pull him up real quick. So he started out 25th at Vegas, 16th at Waco. So not a bad start, but not the best start either. And then proceeds to go Open at Austin 6th, a little setback at Music City, but then 9th at Blue Ridge, and then 5th at Champions Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Very quietly having a good season with a new sponsor.
Oh, yeah.
So very impressive getting that top 5 on Major. Securing his spot in Champions Cup next year.
Yep.
All the top 5 did. And so just it's like kind of that quiet, under the radar, dark horse kind of guy.
Yeah.
We might see maybe snag or win for the Mid Discs brand.
That would be very nice. You got Silas Schultz on here. Obviously, if you were watching the coverage at all, you now see Silas Schultz absolutely crushing it. And he puts his name on the map. I mean, he's another person who technically, I mean, again, like Eagle is somebody who has earned his tour card, just based on like he didn't play as much last year. And so he was bound to at some point get it based on qualification standards. But Silas Schultz snaps a tour card.
Yeah, and Silas is like very well known for his like social media presence, and to see him
12,000 followers.
And I think heard him on the coverage. I think he's in the top 60, like on the UDisc rankings.
Okay.
And so he's not a bad player by any stretch, but he's not one of these premier players that I don't think he was even picked in our Forged Fantasy. Like I don't think anyone picked him.
No, I believe you're correct. Yeah, he's number 41, jumped up 27 places.
So he was at
68.
He was at 68 and jumped all the way to 41.
Yeah, huge jump.
Super exciting for him. And then gotta shout out my boy Aiden Scott. Bro, what an event.
Holy moly. I mean, obviously Silas Schultz playing well, but there's a difference as you hop down. This is Aiden Scott's rookie season.
Yeah, it's his first year playing Pro Tour tournaments. It's his first time. I mean, it's his first major on the MPO level. He has competed out in AM Worlds and things like that.
Right.
But this is his first MPO major.
Which also happy belated, obviously. Aiden Scott turned 18 this past weekend.
Round 2.
Yeah.
And he had a highlight putt that made coverage, they put it all over socials. He hit like a 70-footer.
It was a pretty dang good putt.
Shredded. But I had a good feeling about Aiden taking down a good score at this course, knowing the courses that he's played in Chattanooga. Obviously, they don't have the length that W.R. Jackson does. However, he knows how to play woods golf extremely well. That's where he's learned. That's where he's grown his game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasn't overly surprised, but I was very excited about how he competed. So I saw some stats on Aiden. He is his first top 10, first major. He secured his tour card.
Correct. Let me speak on that real quick, because Aiden played very well from the get-go. Round 1, he was tied for 5th. Now, note, for him to secure the tour card, the particular qualification for him to get it is, there are plenty of ways to do it. I think it's being top 80 in the NPO in general, and standings at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But there are other ones, such as you win a Silver Series, you top 5 an Elite Series event, or you top 10 a major for the year. Those are the NPO side qualifications. The FPO ones look slightly different. So Aiden in this event in particular would need to top 10 to secure his tour card. Through 2 rounds, Aiden, I believe, is right outside. He's tied for 14th, so he needs to make a push up the leaderboard. Round 3, Aiden is again just right outside. He's tied for 12th. He's made a slight push up. So Aiden has to jump up at the very minimum 2 spots in round 18. Okay.
And he's got some great, let's just go back real quick. The players that are just in front of him. Just listen to these names.
Calvin Heinberg.
Gannon Burke. Anthony Barella.
Kyle Klein.
Vinyl Makala.
That's unbelievable.
And then Chris Clemens and Chris Dickerson and Paul Ullman all tied with him.
So that's not easy golf to play, especially as a rookie. So this is your first time playing on that kind of level.
Just turned 18.
And you're now going into round 4, fighting for your tour card next year. That's massive. That is a complete life changer to get guaranteed that. Now, I have no clue what the rest of Aiden's season would look like. I haven't looked at what else he's playing this year, his ability to travel, I don't know what his funding or sponsorship looks like exactly with Prodigy, but going into round 4, he starts off playing well, and going in, he's finished hole 16. He goes into 17, which is an incredibly hard birdie to get. Let me pull this up. Hole 17 is a 558-foot par 4, but it plays really hard uphill and then back off to the right-hand side and down the hill a little bit. And I'm sitting here. I had been following a little bit. Trey caddied for him. He had reached out, was able to caddy for him round 1 of the Music City Open. That's kind of our introduction to Aiden Scott and getting to meet him.
Yeah, and just from there, he's just interacting with us a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Round 2 has just been a class act.
Super chill guy, very easygoing. He seems like he's got his head over his shoulders, which is what you mentioned from being there with him as he played the whole first round out there.
Just calm, cool, collected.
So this is quite literally the most tense moment you could have. I don't know what's going through Aiden's head in this moment. If he particularly, I would say he probably has the tour card on his mind. I would say Aiden probably knows that that's the case.
For sure. And then he had started extremely well and then took the bogey on hole, is it 13 there?
Yes.
Took the bogey on 13 and
par, birdie on 16,
which is a
necessary.
Must get.
16 is a pretty hard downhill hole, I believe.
And it goes left to right.
Correct. And then 17 fights back uphill. And all I know is I've been watching some people drive, but I've been keeping up with Aiden. I didn't know exactly what shot he was on. UDisc had been running a little behind based on the service. And I get the update that Aiden is in circle 2 of 17. I see 17's basket. I'm sitting directly behind 18's tee pad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where is the disc? I can't see where the disc is. And he starts walking up and he walks into circle 1. I'm like, did he approach? Is this it? And the UDisc person has it wrong. And finally he taps it in. It updates on UDisc. I'm like, he got the freaking birdie. He got the freaking birdie.
We are also looking at UDisc and saw that it switched from circle 2 to circle 1. They did actually make the switch at a certain point. I guess the guy couldn't really tell.
Yeah, because of the angle you were coming in from, he was just making his best guess.
Yeah, And so snags that birdie and then
Has to par. The tournament was not over. There were some things that could happen if he bogeyed it, but parring it would have secured
absolute
the door card.
And what does he do?
He rolls there, and I posted the video on our story. He goes up and just absolutely laces a drive up the fairway down, literally directly behind. And I mean, he just peers the gap. Just unbelievable drive.
And then takes a placement shot for a second.
Yeah, plays it relatively easy.
And because I think the round before he double bogeyed it.
Yeah, so he knew 18 could screw him over if not played smart.
And so he played smart, took the par, shot a 1040 rated in the final round, and secured his tour card. You guys better watch out for Aiden Scott.
Oh my gosh, I'm wildly excited to see it. He is now ranked #1 in the 2023 rookie standings.
Yes, that was my next point. He's looking like a potential rookie of the year. Jonesboro better watch out. He might make some moves there too.
Dude, a lot of potential here.
Yeah,
really exciting to see the Tennessee native right there, absolutely taking it down. So
we love to see it. He will be a Jonesboro,
and then
he's got a couple of silvers on there. He is playing Ledgestone,
and then he signed up for Worlds,
and he just qualified for the USDGC.
Yeah, he did.
So good stuff going on there. Love to see it. Then I've got little disappointments, and big disappointments.
Yeah,
because so little disappointments are people who we expected to be in contention that didn't quite contend in the way that we thought they would. And then these next 4 guys, the big disappointments, were guys who did not cash and have also just like not had a good season overall.
I just read the last. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot that we even said.
Yeah, there's 5. I guess there's 5 in the big disappointment category.
Little disappointments. We got Calvin Heinberg tied for 16th. This is officially the end of his Elite Series or higher streak of being in the top 3. Paul McBeth tied for 20th. Obviously, he's washed. Just kidding. Paul McBeth obviously playing with a field that is absolutely insane.
I mean, he's falling off a little bit. This is a disappointing start to a season. I will say that outright. This is a disappointing.
I think he would agree. I don't think Paul would sit there and be like, oh, I hate these guys for saying that I'm having a disappointing start. Paul feels this way. Paul mentioned in his post after
Music City.
I believe it was Music City, because that's when he was talking about like this like callus and like welt on his finger. Yeah, it was bleeding. It was really hurting him. And I think the caption was only, I'm not going to sleep till I get this right, or something like that.
Well, I guess he needs to keep not sleeping. Because he has not got it right.
And you've got James Proctor on here, which it's hard to say little disappointment because it's right outside of like where he really is, like ranking wise compared to everybody, but he's been playing so good.
I mean, let's go. PDGA ranking, I think, doesn't really tell the story.
No, the rankings are absolutely 100% accurate and tell the whole story.
So Proctor has jumped way up in the season 15, exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah.
How did Ezra go up when he didn't play? That's kind of wild. That's interesting. And
that was nuts.
But so did Kevin Jones.
So James Proctor playing a little below where he should be.
I'd say a lot below where he should be.
Yeah.
And so it's almost big disappointment, but he still did cash.
Let's say big disappointment. He's not like that top name currently. Obviously, he's playing very well. People know James Proctor very well for this first actual full season. Correct?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm taking it on the precedent of what he has done this season.
Totally.
And this is by far his most disappointing tournament of this season.
Yeah. And then big disappointments. What's the first name?
It's got to be Corey Ellis.
Yeah. And just can't seem to.
I kind of thought that Corey might wind up being a multiple, he could win a couple of tournaments, and he's had a couple of decent finishes.
I mean, the Las Vegas Challenge in 8th, the Open at Austin in 10th. I mean, top 25 at Music City. It's not that it's obviously he's had a couple really bad finishes.
Yeah, 103rd
at Waco.
Wait, did he DNF that?
He might have.
But I feel like he would have gotten 0 points if he DNF'd. No, he straight up came in 103rd.
And then 53rd at Champions Cup. So it's slow start. going into the All-Star weekend, when he came in and played in place of Ricky, he was looking very good for what he was doing, and then proceeded to do well at the Las Vegas Challenge, and then has been a slow decline. I say slow, it was an immediate decline going into one.
He fell off the face of the earth.
The punch back on says been
and then
slow decline. So that definitely, you've got Drew Gibson on the list. Is this his first event since Vegas?
I think so. Which he played Memorial, which isn't Pro Tour, but yeah, I can't figure out Drew Gibson. The dude is obviously extremely talented. Throws extreme. Oh wait,
he's playing a bunch of A tiers. He's just enjoying playing disc golf, focusing more on the media side. Media side, like his own personal brand. Maybe he's doing more with Finish Line.
Who beat him at the St. Patrick's Classic?
Sponsored by DGA, baby.
Oh, chopping it. Who
at the Champions Cup
didn't even show up. But yeah. So Drew Gibson also did not cash at this tournament. Has not really made his impact on the tour. Hopefully, we'll see a little more out of him on the West Coast swing. That's where he likes to play.
In Jonesboro, honestly, he's picking back up to playing.
Yeah, he's playing a bunch of silvers as well, which is kind of...
So the rest of his tour season, if he plays, looks like it will be pretty heavy. So we'll see if Drew Gibson starts punching back. Okay, put it on here. Casey White. I called Casey White to win this one. Looking back, it was recency bias. It was because I had watched it. I think I mentioned in the podcast I had watched a video of Casey White playing W.R. Jackson, and
he had shot a hot round the year prior. Was on lead card after round one.
He had a lot of opportunity. Now, he did not play up to that caliber.
He did not even close.
Casey White finished in the same spot as Corey Ellis at 53rd. So he's total 12 under par. What kind of golf is that? It's like 10, 13? Right under his rating.
Which Isaac shot that
in one round. Now, I will say, Casey White, while we were sitting in the stands watching some people finish out, was literally sitting just a few behind us, and I randomly see a disc come in on the chase card. It's just this yellow mid-range that comes into circle one, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's that yellow disc." And I didn't know it was him at first, and I looked back, and I started laughing, and I made eye contact, and it's Casey White. I just eye laughing.
Oh yeah, that's that yellow disc. I'm gonna start saying that about yours.
It was funny.
Disc. Oh, and that.
Emerson Keith, maybe the most disappointing player, honestly. Emerson, I got to show Reed my favorite video, which is the Lone Star disc commercial where Emerson goes, "It's the lucky shot." Well, the mic doesn't pick up when we both say something at the same time. So Emerson goes, everybody's like, "It's the fun. It's the discs. It's the long throws." And then Emerson literally launches an approach disc, which in a quarter of a second hits the chains, and he goes, "It's the lucky shots." And I've got it saved on my phone. And I literally was waiting for a moment. I watched Emerson play a few holes, and I wanted him to hit it, and I was going to. I told Reed, I was like, I will 100% do this if he hits it. I will go, "It's the lucky shot." But I didn't get the opportunity. I wasn't going to do it unless he called for it. If he had a lucky shot, I wasn't going to do it to be mean. I was going to do it to be playful and actually hit a really good shot.
No, for sure.
So, and that did not happen. Real quick, I want to talk, I think we go into points. We can do points update, and then we'll talk about tournament.
I do want to look at how bad about or Emerson Keith. Oh, he played a bunch of tournaments, but then he played
the actual tour season itself.
Vegas got 8th. I didn't realize he played that well there.
I feel like second place.
He plays on Crush, and then 52 at Waco, 92 at Austin, 111 DNF at Music City, 58 at Blue Ridge Championships, and then 71st at Champions Cup.
So the pound for pound distance champion is now the pound for pound 60th average finish. So Emerson, we love seeing anybody play well. We don't love watching somebody play bad, but it is the way the season's trending. We want to make sure we're informing you all of what's going on in the world of disc golf.
Yeah.
And that is Emerson Keith this year.
Not playing well.
Points update, Trey. I believe Pretty much all across the MPO we were rolling outside of one particular pick.
Aiden Scott getting that Forge top 10.
Trey picked it. He called it.
I did. I just knew. I knew that this course played to his strengths, and so I was excited to see him grab that tied for 7th and snag me a couple of points.
And then on the FPO side, all of us pick or get a 5-point boost with Kristen Tatar taking the win. None of us take a point for getting the score on point. I was the closest, which means nothing. And then Trey grabs 3 points with Katrina Allen getting a podium finish. I do not, because I picked Holland Handley. Matt picked Owen Scoggins, who did, and then none of us got our Forge pick.
Yeah, Kate Tatate and Paige Shue did not quite get it done.
Did not get the job done. So with that in mind, I think the overall points update, Trey made just a little bit. He gained 2 points on the crowd overall. You gained 5 on me.
Did.
But Matt has 33, Thomas has 29, and Trey has 23.
Creeping my way up.
You are creeping your way up. So we're leading into about when the camera may turn off. We'll see what happens. I'm going to talk just briefly, just having been at the Champions Cup, how I feel like it did spectator-wise, things that I liked and maybe disliked. And really, I've got a pretty high view of how Champions Cup did it. I've decided to do general admin, and I may do this moving forward. It's just, at least for one round, start off general admin. Like, if I go for multiple rounds, like we may do later in the year for an like start off general admin, and then see about, like, moving my way into VIP. But I want to get the, like, general view of how the tournament is run, so I can see from the lowest level how the spectator, like, experience is. It's a very wooded course. It's not going to be the easiest thing to spectate. Definitely not the easiest thing to film. There are plenty of complaints about the Disc Golf Network and not having the greatest coverage, it being grainy frequently.
And it was, but they did the best they could with what they had.
They did.
We're going to have to see a little more growth in the sport to have these courses, wired and have better connections and things like that. But overall,
I think we're pretty lucky to have the kind of coverage that we do at this point in time.
Gosh, absolutely. I totally agree with that.
So the map this time was entirely accurate. The Music City map was not accurate.
We appreciate accurate maps.
So you were actually able to do a full loop around if you wanted, between the vendor village and the rest of the course. So you could do a full circle around. You could start off, see a few of the holes, which it's like 12 and like 30, or I think it's like hole like 5 and 12 had this like meet up on a road that you would drive into if you were going to the International Disc Golf Center.
Got it.
And that road led up to the vendor village and where the actual International Disc Golf Center was, which houses like the museum, history of disc golf stuff. Vendor village was great. Lots of disc options out there. I feel like it was better laid. It felt more fun than Music City. Music City kind of felt like you were walking through a shopping mall. Like it was like very like square.
Yeah.
This was just very like wide open. I feel like you got to have like this fun walking down this big road that led into like a really fun area with a massive screen that you could watch the coverage on, so you could see holes that you obviously weren't right near.
Nice.
And I got to go over to the Prodigy stand. And I wanted to replace a disc that I'd lost that Trey bought me for my birthday a couple of years ago, or a little over it, like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So I got a PX3. Trey got me a Proto, but one day I'll get it out of the Victor F. Pond. I got to talk to Will Shoestrick.
What a guy.
So that was fun. He was just standing there selling discs there. I got a signature later in the day. Got to talk to him about why he's the reason why there's a Mando at VA hole 18. Legend hasn't that, and I got to talk to Will about the fact that he and plenty of others would throw a spiked hyzer up on the right-hand side towards the walking path. So,
yeah, that's definitely something I would try if there wasn't a Mando.
Yeah, I kept telling Will, I was like, I literally have no clue how anybody would ever throw that line. And look at that Mando all the time and go, why is there an arrow pointing to the left? I'm always going to throw to it's a tree literally right in front of you. And Will would stand on the back of the tee pad and throw a spike hyzer immediately up, which we don't have the arm for. I got to get the Brody Tour Series Zone OS bottom stamp.
That is sick. Check that out.
So you might not be able to see that well, but Dark Horse Zone OS. So it's nice having the bottom stamp. So this is pretty clean looking. This is kind of like the anti-zone that I have, because the other zone I have is very yellow with a slight darker orangish rim.
There you go.
So it's a good complement right there. And then the Ledgestone spot was selling all of the other Discraft items. And you will probably not be able to see this on here, the actual stamp. This is a white ESP zone. It's a Champions Cup one, and the actual zone itself is written in a white stamp. And then the Georgia Peach is the O. So I thought a white on white was a fun one. So they had a lot of really cool stuff.
Good deal.
I liked it more than the Music City Opens, which you would expect that in a major.
Yeah, the major has the higher expectation of just like being better prepared for.
Bushnell was there. We got to do a little radar test to see how far or how fast we could throw. It's like 43 miles an hour. It was real sad.
How fast did Reed throw?
I think 46. So yeah, Reed threw just a little bit further than me.
Faster.
Would also have been further, but definitely faster. I was pretty sad. I wanted to get it over him. We actually did get to play Saturday. I was going to go for 2 rounds, but he and I ended up. It just made more sense for me to spend some time with Reed, since I don't get to see him often. So we played a course called Perkerson Park. It reminded me a lot of Morningside, but like a little longer, just a little bit nicer.
Nice.
So really enjoyed that. Reed, I think, he beat me by 1. It's a classic Reed thing to do.
Very classic Reed thing to do.
So let's pass that. Overall Champions Cup experience, very good. Got to see Eric Oakley again. He flexed on me without like really being prompted. Like, I went, "Let's go, EO," and then EO looked over at me. He went, "Oh." I thought it was awesome. And so he proceeded to repost a few videos. I posted a video of him going up on 18, and he started to walk up, and he stepped on a stick, and he stopped. I went, "Nice stop." And then he like picked up and tossed the stick, went up, and then just absolutely crushed a drive. So, but he proceeded to follow us on Instagram. So EO now follow us. Number 3, is that pro number 3? Do we have any other like?
No, it is pro number 3 because we've got Aiden, we've got Paul Oman, and now we got EO.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. That is good.
That is good. So very, very excited for that one. Productive weekend, just getting to see pros play, film a decent bit where possible. So found a few really good spots where you could see a few shots.
Sweet.
So it was really good. So
we'll have to remember that for next year.
Well, so Jonesboro. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So we're not going to spend a ton of time talking about the course because I think the format that we've gone after is talking more about the course and more about the layout and more about what we think about the course after the fact.
Correct.
So we'll just preview it very briefly. There's going to be 3 rounds of this tournament, no cut. Briefly, I was one of the big disappointments also because I said there was a cut at the Champions Cup and there wasn't.
So we are wrong.
I want to admit that I was wrong.
Hey, I respect that.
But
3 rounds, no cut.
It's a really unique course. It's got a good mix of open and wooded.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a wooded course, but there's a lot of wooded lines.
Correct.
And so you're going to also see some big bomber shots. And so I think it really does. It's a course that's going to require all the shots in the game. And so I think you'll see some of the best players rise to the top. That's what you've seen historically at this tournament. If you look at the results from last year, you're not surprised by anybody who's in the top 10.
No, not at all.
And so, I mean, I think we'll go straight into it.
Yeah, the only thing I was going to say is, I mean, Jonesboro reminds me a little bit of Waco. Not exactly by any means, but the fact that it is a nice mix of open and a little bit of wooded golf.
So I think, yeah, they're almost like inverse.
Correct.
Where Waco is a lot of wooded and a little bit of open golf.
This plays that like slightly opposite way around, a hole one being a very big picture of that. It just wide open shot.
Fun opening hole.
That's just such a good one. So picks for the event, Trey. Who do you have taking down the event?
This guy has just been there, been close, has made some good runs. It's time for him to finally take one down. Anthony Barella.
Think he's going to do it?
I think he's going to take this one down. I think he's going to win it. I think he's actually going to dominate. I think this course plays really well to his strengths, and I'm excited to see AB take home the Jonesboro.
Finished 20th last year at the event, but he's been playing better this year now that he's playing more of like full tour schedule. So I'll be excited to see that happen. I'm picking Kyle Klein, the Waco winner. I think he's kind of got every type of golf that you need. He's got really good distance, but he's also got very solid accuracy when needed.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for Kyle, just in general, is that I've noticed, I got to see him play in person some, and I got to watch some of the coverage, and I think there are times where he just becomes extremely frustrated with himself, and extremely frustrated with shots. And so I think if that mental game he stays calm, cool, and maybe light a fire every once in a while, get frustrated, and if that's going to help you shoot better, sure. But I think just keeping the mental game there, I think he's a great pick. He's had a great year.
Yeah.
And then Matt is lacking. Matt forgot to send in his picks. So we got some placeholders for him we thought would be fun. We got Paul McBeth winning it. Pretty safe option. He's won it before.
Correct.
He was in the playoff last year.
If it weren't for a slip of the foot, Paul definitely would have won.
Yeah, right. Right. So we'll give Matt Paul we'll give him until Wednesday to make some changes. So we'll make a quick.
You'll post those.
Yeah, we'll post those picks, and then this might actually be something he does. He's got Simon placing, so
correct
podium.
I think this is a classic event that Simon could even win.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of people who could win this one.
Calvin Heimberg on my end as the podium pick. I'm going to have a little bounce back. Calvin winning last year.
Doesn't quite take it down, but rebounds from what might seem like a disappointing finish at the first major.
Yeah.
And then I got to take him. It's the most classic Jonesboro, Arkansas pick in disc golf history. We're taking Kevin Jones' place.
Yeah, didn't get to play Champions Cup. I forgot there for a second that he didn't play. There's somebody that's absolutely ripping Prodigy in the comment section on an Instagram post about what is Kevin Jones doing? He just wants to pursue his DJ career. He doesn't even care about disc golf anymore.
He's had a pretty decent season. I
was like, what are you getting on about?
I feel like I legitimately feel like he's had a pretty good year.
He finished, he did second at the Las Vegas Challenge, 5th at Waco, and then, the rest of the season hasn't been great, 16 at Austin. So, I was a little, this person started off by asking, where's Kevin Jones? And then Schustrick commented on the post. It was just he didn't register and didn't make the cut on the qualifier. And then this person just went off talking about the DJ career, which I thought was hilarious.
A little ridiculous. But
Forge pick. So you got
who did? How could I go off of Aiden Scott? I think Aiden Scott's going to go back-to-back top 10.
That would be kind of nuts.
He's shredding right now. And this horse is going to play, I think, again, to his strengths, which is apparently everything, because he's good in woods, good at open. Might as well just pick him to win worlds, but
definitely. I'm gonna go with good old Paul Oman.
Love that pick.
He's gotten to play several. His Champions Cup isn't on here yet for some reason. I feel like everybody else's were already on here. Maybe I'm off, but he's been having a pretty good start to the season. So I think there's an opportunity. And then Matt, we just auto picked for him. We thought, oh, fun. Philo is supposedly playing the event.
He hasn't played much this year, so let's give Philo that top 10.
This would be a fun one for sure.
And then let's go to FPO real quick. I'm just gonna say we all picked Kristen Tatar.
Do we want to do a margin of victory?
Sure.
Again, on the dot. And then since this is a little bit harder, count it 2 points. Last time it carryover points.
I think we stick with the 1 point.
Come on. 2 points because we didn't get one last week.
Okay, so it's like
Becomes 2 points, and then if somebody hits it, it's back for 1 point.
okay.
So you gain points over the.
I'm down for that. So yeah, I'll go Kristen Tatar at so I'll say 9.
Oh, that's what to say. I'm gonna call it.
She won by like 12 last year.
I'm gonna call it -8. I think she's gonna pull it just a little bit tighter.
Okay. And then we'll get Matt's. We'll say Matt's is like 67. But to place, who you got, Thomas?
I'm gonna go with Holland and Lee.
Well, she was also your pick for Champions Cup, right? Yes, it was.
It was. So we'll see what happens. Where did she finish?
I think she finished just outside top 5.
Yeah, Holland was finished 6th. So very close, 3 strokes off of being in that area. So and then we've got Matt picking Paige Pierce as the place to podium. Trey, who do you got?
I've got Macy Vela Diaz.
It's a good one.
I mean, she's having a great year. I think to be able to throw these different shots on different holes, I think, like, to play woods golf, play open golf, Macy's the person that you want. So if it's not, I mean, you want Kristen Tatar, and then I think Macy's going to take second place.
Definitely. And then on the Forge side, Trey, who do you got?
I'm going to take Allie Smith.
Little DGA.
Yeah. So she's had some really solid rounds. She had the ace, I believe. No, she had a throw in. No, she did ace at Blue Ridge.
Okay.
And didn't play the best at the Champions Cup. Finished tied for 11th.
Yeah.
Was playing very well until the last round?
Yeah, she went even 5 under, which was such a good round, and then went 5 over to even it out.
So she was 1 round away from doing something really special and being in the top 10. And so I feel pretty confident about her. Matt is going to take his classic Paige shoe pick.
There you go.
And then Thomas, where are you going?
I am going with Holly Finley.
Okay.
So, I mean, has not finished in the top 10 yet, but we're going to take a shot in the dark, see what can happen. I mean,
hey, she's repping Tennessee.
She is repping Tennessee, so it's good to see a couple Tennessee-based players on the list. Trey, you got new discs.
Yeah, let's get into it real quick. So I've got 2 new discs from Innova. The first one isn't really important. It is a new disc, but they've already retooled it. The Alien, which is a Sonic catch-looking disc, and I don't really understand what the retool was. I didn't get into too many of the details, but they have retooled it. Now, the most interesting one is the Innova Rolo. And they've already given flight numbers, so I didn't have to dig too much on this one. The flight numbers are 5, 6, -5,
What a
1.
dumb turn number for a mid-range.
It is you say that, it is the first mid-range to claim a -5 on turn. So, I mean, the name speaks for itself. I'm thinking that they've designed this disc to be a mid-range roller. It'll join, there's only a handful of discs that have been claimed to have a -5 turn. The Mamba, the Divergent Tianuk, the Daredevil Sasquatch, which is funny because the Sasquatch is the same disc as the Yeti and the Bigfoot, but they have different flight numbers.
Wasn't it plastics? You said that change, and they changed the name entirely if it's in a different plastic.
Yeah, just brief synoptic there. I was on Team Daredevil, and they had very interesting way of naming their discs, and it's It's just interesting. Their flight numbers were different on the same mold. But anywho, the DGA Sail and the Vibram Unlace all have a -5 turn.
Interesting.
But this is the first mid-range to go that route.
Right.
And then last but certainly not least, a company that I had not heard of before, OZDG, has come out with this disc, the Evo. And I'm just going to show it to you real quick, the little side profile that they've got.
And it's just so weird.
It has...
As long as I remember, I'll post this on the...
Yeah.
Post
It's got ridges. Just four
it's like
indents.
It's almost like golf. Like, why am I losing? Not Davis dimples, yes.
It's like they're trying to go that route with this. And I mean, I don't know the physics behind it, but it's not been done before. We've got a lot of putters out there.
It's a very interesting graphic as well. So, I mean, they seem like they're very serious about it. It's a very well put together graphic.
Oh, no doubt. And so, I mean, if you happen to be listening to us, OZDG, we'd love to be something for people to write your disc.
I would definitely review this disc.
Oh, 1000%. So if you hear this and you're interested in having some good content, we will put out some good content.
Definitely. Lead us in. Good old Boshi's Fun and Games this week.
Yeah. So I just thought we talk a lot about our game. We talk a lot about like, oh yeah, we're AMs. We're not that good. But a lot of folks that probably listen to us are AMs. And we both throw mixed bags. So we've gotten to throw a lot of different discs. I'm just thinking right now, what are your top 5 favorite discs in your bag? And we don't need to
we could just go back and forth on an league draft because it's not a draft.
Yeah, it's like, and like maybe just give a little bit of the why. We don't need to get into too much detail.
Yeah, I'll start us off, and mine is definitely going to be my zone. I've particularly got one that is kind of like a orange, almost salmon color ring around it, and it's very bright, sunshiny yellow on the inner side. It's an ESP, and I've been using it for a while. I've got two zones in my bag. One that's beat in like nobody's business, and then this one, which is a bit on the newer side. And I've had a couple really fun throw-ins with it, so it's definitely my number one. Good old classic approach disc.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just going to piggyback off of that. Mine is a Crystal Flex Get Freaky.
Which one?
Zone. Oh, the money one.
Oh yeah,
the yellow with the money.
Mm-hmm.
I've had ever since I lost my blue one that I had a couple throw-ins with. I love the Get Freaky Zone. I've had 3 in my bag at one point. Right now I'm at 1, and it's the yellow one. Throw it all over the course on forehands, and I've had a lot of fun throw-ins. Got my first birdie on hole 10 at Victor Ash with that disc. I threw it in.
Oh, okay. I was like, the tee, and then
No.
holy moly.
Yeah, I mean that's no. I threw it. It was throw-in, but I'm very happy with that.
My number 2 will be my Discraft Athena, which you picked up for me at USDGC last year. Shout out to you. That's just been a super fun one. I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for me to throw it backhand, forehand around here. And so I've really been glad to throw it. I've kind of teetered a little back and forth because I feel like the cookie that I've got is just a tinge bit more overstable, maybe with a little less glide.
Yeah.
And so I go back and forth between the two, but I love Discraft in general, and so the Athena's a fun one.
Well, there you go. You took my number 2. You talked about my number 2, I guess. Mine is the Clash Disc Cookie.
Yeah.
I'm still learning this disc, but the more I throw it, the more I love it. I already know that I really like it for some flex backhand shots. I don't have a ton of power on my backhand, but I can throw this disc on a little bit of Annie and trust it to go. I'm a lefty, so trust it to go left just a little bit and then finish strong to right, but not ridiculous amount of fade. But where this disc is shining for me is on my forehand. I have yet to I've not really ever trusted a 7-speed for this particular shot for a power forehand or throwing something where I'm trying to get where I'm not trying to just throw a big Anheuser or something, where I'm actually trying to get distance with it. And I've yet to turn the disc over.
Yeah.
Which is awesome for me. So love the Clash Disc Cookie, still learning it. And it turns out you don't
like my cookie. You do like the cookie that I got.
I do really like the cookie that you got.
Shout out to Tina Oakley for giving me what I think is an accidental discount on that disc.
So what's your third?
Number 3, I'm going to have to go with again, on the Discraft train, I've got a well-seasoned Discraft Nuke currently that has just been very faithful to me on the forehand and backhand end. At a different disc that's going to be on the list a little bit later that has been more dominantly on the forehand that I've lost, but I'll replace it with. But the Nuke has been really good. I think of like hole 5 at Victor Ashe, large downhill. I was playing to long the other day, and honestly, I was like right outside in the circle. It was like one of those like, okay, this is overstable enough that on a hole that long, it's going to come back. But it's now in a spot where it's pretty much like a 13-speed Zeus. And it's a fun one.
So there you go. Good deal. So for my third, I'll go mid. I'm going to go with the Mint Discs Lobster.
All right.
And this is a right now vibe because I'm learning how to throw patent pending backhands. And I was just telling Thomas this earlier on in a hole and at one of our local courses, I threw into the woods on the left side to where I couldn't throw my pitch out forehand and I had to go patent pending. Put it in the circle for a birdie putt. Missed the birdie putt, but I'm really liking the Lobster. It's nice and understable, which is nice for like when you don't have full range of motion to make like a full throw. And so it's been really good for those patent pending shots for me and some turnover backhands, which is just a shot that I haven't really practiced a ton, but this disc is working great for me.
Very nice.
So
I'm going to roll with my Lazat. That Trey had been throwing the hex prior to all of this going down, but, getting that Simon Lazat hex with the axolotl stamp on it, I've got a little pink rim. It's been a very faithful mid-range for me, so I've been very glad to have it. It does just what I need.
Well, there you go. So I'll go just, this is totally based off name. It's very new disc in my bag. Got to go with the Lone Star Benny.
Yeah, it is.
The namesake disc. I had to do it. And so, I'm still learning it. It's pretty solid. Feels like I can throw some good shots with it I tried throwing it on hole 3 at Shumpert and did okay.
Yeah.
But, that's just based solely on name.
You had to get it.
Yeah.
It was not an option not to purchase it.
Yep.
My last one, it is a Sea-Line Discmania DD3. I'll have to replace. I lost mine playing Hobbs Farm in Carrollton, Georgia on Friday of this past week. Friday was just solely Thomas playing disc golf. Saturday was spending time with friends. And then Sunday was watching Champions Cup. But lost it on a really far downhill with these just super tall trees and this massive wooded area. I looked forever. Heck, it could probably just be in the top of a tree for all I know. So couldn't find it, but I've got a yellow one that I've had for a while that's just been a waiting replacement. So I love it as a forehand disc. It was becoming a really good backhand one, but I preferred the forehand.
Well, there you go.
So,
and then I've been teetering back and forth between a couple of discs. But I'm going to go with the Discraft Raptor.
That's a solid.
Just my go-to forehand disc.
So you got your little, seafoam green, bluish.
With the heart stamp, right? The heart stamped logo on there. It's a good disc. So
very good one.
So that's Poachy's Fun and Games. Nice and easy.
Now I've got the most well thought out Thomas's top 5 I have ever done.
So what is it, Thomas? You're so confident.
With Jonesboro coming up, which is in Arkansas.
Yes.
Which is just Kansas with the letters AR in front of it.
Okay.
These are my top 5 things that start with the letter AR.
The letter A.
Or the letters AR.
All right.
We're going to start off. You can take this one however you want. Archer. Whether it's the TV show, being an actual archer, or the Discraft disc itself. The Archer. That's just a good old classic.
Okay.
My next one, I've decided to go a little bit more wide scale. I've gone with the Country Argentina. I mean, that's just, I mean, that's the first thing I think of when you hear the letter normal. It's
Argentina.
So my number 3, I'm gonna go with a little childhood favorite, Ariel from The Little Mermaid.
Just Ariel from Little Mermaid.
Just Ariel.
Okay.
Just Ariel. The next one, I'm gonna go with The Profession.
Okay.
The or like the the study of, I guess it's the study of, but you could be an archaeologist or archaeology, the study of, is it bones and
No, I think that's, I don't know. It's like paleontologist is done.
study of human history and prehistory through the excavation of sites and the analysis of artifacts. Artifacts.
Another AR, is that your number one?
Did I say my final one? No, I think I.
No, you didn't.
All right, number one, Area 51. Obviously, this list was very hard thought. I just spent hours on it this weekend while watching coverage. I was like, what are R?
What are our?
So, what a wild time. So,
This list is infallible. Perfect.
it is absolutely perfect. So,
And then you have to end it.
yeah, that's the end of the podcast. Jonesboro up soon. We'll see how that goes. Appreciate you guys for watching. We're 17 episodes down. Jonesboro and a long season ahead of us. So I appreciate you all for watching, and we'll catch you next week.
Sounds good.
See you guys.